Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Between the Sharks. We got to rebuild that lean-to. Well, the structure hasn't completely failed. There's a lot that's been sort of deleted over time. It looks like tree damage. That's clearly had termites. That's all broken in half. Taking a closer look at all these telephone pole jimmy jams, but none of them are secured. They're on railroad ties. Looks like the two ends are actually set into the ground, but they're not really. Nothing on the property has a roof that I would consider functioning. They all keep some water out, but none of them keep all the water out. Not sure what this side's excuse is, but I did snag all this up the other day. It wasn't cheap, but it was way below retail. Leave the windows cracked during a hurricane. Your butt might get wet next time you get in your truck. This endeavor means we're gonna have to think about what we're doing with this thing. A little bit of me wants to see if we can rebuild it just for sport, because it's so bad. But not today. Thus begins the full junk shuffle. And what I mean is, there is nowhere I can put any of this that is its final destination. God, there's a motor under that one. Okay. Not sure why I'm saving lawnmowers that don't even roll. Huh. Is that factory? Does anybody know of a four-wheel drive dog dish? I'd say that it wasn't, except there's two of them. And they look way too nicely done to be custom. Trash. Just kidding. Peepers. Starting to feel like that Davy Jones ship from Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, this stuff's just growing into the landscape.
I got a jar of dirt. I got a jar of dirt.
This guy is just aching to be a bush hog. This is most of what's left of the lawnmower collection. Got one big deck. All these guys, everything with a front belt drive feels seized up. I don't know if that's because I'm not pulling the widget a doohickey and there's a brake on it, which is entirely likely now that I think about it. It is amazing what a couple hours shuffling junk will do. I tried every one of those weed whackers. They're all locked up. This thing though, way back in the Wayback Machine, when I first did a walk around in here, somebody pointed this out, that this is an old school four-wheel steer mower, and you can see it now that I have the stuff cleared out from around it, which is neat. He said some people take the rear axles out of these and build four-wheel drive mowers, something I'll never get around to. Does have a 12.5 horsepower motor in it, but for now it's got to get out of here. Well, it's bright, it's early, sun's just barely coming up. We got a lot to do today. Kind of waiting out our scrap metal run because it's early on a Monday morning. I got the day off, but I expect everybody with a truck like this loaded up over the weekend is headed straight to the scrap metal yard this morning. So I'm gonna try to find that magical window somewhere between like 10 and noon where like the weekend stuff's been dropped off, but the Monday morning stuff hasn't made it over there yet. Speaking of scrap metal, boy, howdy. Become quite apparent that I gotta move this thing, which I don't know how well it's gonna move, first of all, but second of all, there's nowhere to go. The way to pull it out would be straight out this way, but there's about, I don't know, 5 tons of mulch. I don't want it over there anyway. In fact, I don't really want it anywhere on the property, if I'm being totally honest with everybody here. Boy, howdy, I had a moment. I just got back here and I couldn't see the tire under there, but it's there. Thank goodness. This thing is actually in okay shape, and by okay shape, I mean the way that people restore these is a full rebuild. Pull the walls off, pull the floors out, and then rebuild it using the old stuff as patterns. Looks like about 100 hours of labor and $3 in material, if you're lucky, depending on how much plumbing and whatever you want to do in it. And I don't see myself ever using it for that much effort. But I don't know, put it in the comments. Still a little smoky in the morning, so we either need valve stem seals or to ignore that problem. The good news is this machine can lift it. The bad news is you can't lift it without me standing on the back. Again, it's not a problem so much with these machines, but it's something to be aware of. They are stronger than they are heavy. All right, I'm gonna try to lift this up. It happens to be on those blocks like a real life trailer park, so we're gonna go ahead and see if we can at least remove that. All right, so we've hooked up a chain and some very low expectations, and I'm gonna see if I can move this thing with that little guy at all. All right, you guys aren't gonna believe this. At least I didn't. Not only did we move it from there to there, it also rolled. We're basically gonna turn this into a runaway camper and just send it down that hill behind me, I'm sure. So we gotta remember to push, not pull. All right, this probably falls squarely into the hey y'all watch this category. Wow, I've been there a minute, guys. I can't. Oh yeah, I forgot cans. Right. I can't believe that it's kind of working. I might be able to pull it up far enough to just, oh hell, I can probably, if I can get it to turn, I can probably back it down the hill, and then we'll just forget about it for another billion years. That's disconcerting. Hope that's a pork shoulder blade. Let's hope we don't find any other bones. All right, how do we do this? Anybody know? If you guys didn't think you wanted one of these things, I mean, how else are you gonna move your crappy abandoned campers around your crappy abandoned property? You know what I'm saying? Man, I can't believe that worked. I'm shocked. I stewed on that either just the right amount of time or too long, because it just worked better than I thought it would. I'm gonna try to get a block or two under this thing so it doesn't sink into the mud, and then I gotta figure out what to do with it. You guys drop that in the comments, because anyway, we got a lot of projects. If we had 0 projects, this would be on the list. But we don't have 0 projects. It's not even 10 a.m. gang. Look at that scrap heap way down there. Now we got a great big mess, and we got to demo this thing. All right, I am out of practice with this thing, so I got to get the hang of it, but clearly I'm super happy that it barely reaches. I mean, a little bit of this project is practice, because I got to do something like this on the house. There's a small extension that needs to come down. My other alternative here would be a ladder and a Sawzall. Here goes nothing. Thing is down in 25 or 30 minutes. It took me much longer to move the lawnmowers and to move the camper. Now we've got plenty of cleanup to do, there's no question about it, but it's all a lot less dangerous than it was a few minutes ago. I mean, that was quite dramatic. I can't say I had planned this, but this was clearly termite eaten, rotten, bad news. I think like my speechlessness is how well this worked and how effective that tool was, because before this I would have used a ladder and a Sawzall and tried to work piece by piece and not get clobbered, and it would have taken hours and hours and hours to not get hurt, and I still might have gotten hurt. This is awesome. Thing is doing damage. It would be doing a lot more if I knew what I was doing, but I don't. Well, we're on our way to the scrapyard. I think I ought to delete on this redneck racing seatbelt before the cops realize that I'm not wearing one, because this won't do anything for you. One screw. Uh-oh. It's our turn. Here we go. We'll finish that project in a minute. Ridiculous. All right, got lucky. One load of scrap gone. I think I hit that magical window I was hoping to hit. There were not many people there. I pulled right onto the scale, unloaded, pulled right back onto the scale. which is awesome because you can sit there forever. It's not even noon yet. We have a lot to do to clean all this up, but we've got an empty truck, which is great, and we clobbered a bunch of stuff, which is also great. So this machine is tearing stuff up. I'm able to use the bucket to slide in between the wood and the metal, and it is just tearing things apart, which is pretty awesome because I keep jumping out to move stuff and then I'll like find an errant piece and try to like leverage it, and I'm not winning that battle. So this thing is doing it with ease, and then when I jump out and try to do it, I realize how strong that little machine really is. We're back here into the can collection. Guy worked real hard on this. Well, it is bright and it is early once again. It's kind of a disaster area here, but at the same time, that's what progress looks like around here. We gotta get all this stuff packed up and to the scrapyard. Hopefully, even though it's all crumpled up, we can get it in one truckload, and then we'll see about these cans. That guy worked real hard on that can collection. All right, considering the fella left his retirement fund here and I gotta pick it up anyway, as well take it to the scrapyard and cash it in for him. See how he did. That is actually a lot of cans, 3 big contractor bags full. So I'm actually really curious as to what the old scrap value of that is. Also think it took me longer to pick those up than it did to pick up all of the sheet steel. But we're loaded up, ready to go to the scrapyard. Did it without wounding myself. Until it was ratchet strap time. All right, heading out of the scrapyard for round 2. Made 52 American dollars this time, 47 on the last run. But the big number, the Redneck Retirement Fund, 41 pounds of aluminum cans in 3 bags, $22.55 for 41 pounds of cans. I guess it was worth it. All right, not bad. We're into it roughly 10 or 12 hours at this point. Way faster because we've got those machines. That includes the scrap runs, and of course the dumpster is a huge help because otherwise those would have been trips to the dump. It's ready for a quick pass with the mini skid steer to take all this loose stuff off the top, pick up all the rest of the trash, and then maybe we get to call this project done and start thinking about the next project, which is rebuilding. That's kind of neat. unearth this old Coke bottle. I'm not really sure how long it's been here, but it's been a minute. All right, sports fans, this has basically been a 10-hour project. One dude, 2 runs to the scrapyard. Granted, I do have the dumpster on site, but I mean, the big difference has been these little machines. A lot of people have been asking about them, how I like them, how they're holding up. I like them more and more every day, and they're holding up very well. No, I'm not sponsored or anything like that, but so far, they've been a great investment for the type of stuff I've had to do at this property, which is barely beginning. I'd like to thank you guys very much for watching and very, very much for subscribing. I work real hard on these videos, not only to bring you along, but also to keep them entertaining. So I appreciate it very much when you support the channel by watching and subscribing. I genuinely do. So if you're into this kind of stuff, stay tuned, because those red flags are the general markers of what we're going to try to do here, which is pull this out 24 feet by 30 feet, the length of the building, sooner than later, with a lean-to kind of home-built situation, one-man job. And if you're into this kind of stuff, well, you know, there's always classic car stuff on the channel too. Something I love bringing you guys along for it, but there's going to be quite a balance around here for a while between home improvement and you know, classic car and hot rodding stuff, because you got to make some time for that fun stuff too, or at least I gotta keep telling myself that. Anyway, good luck on your projects out there, and we will see you next time on Between the Sharks.